ask you guys a question. Think about this while I'm giving my speech, and maybe take it with you after you leave. What have you been told about addiction? I'll tell you what I was told. Before a year and a half ago, this was all I knew. Addiction was something I saw on posters in my health class. Addiction was something I heard about when talking about abusive couples. Addiction was something my health teachers would plaster statistic after statistic on the board about with no explanation. Addiction was a word that was whispered by my peers, followed by the word rehab. Addiction was sugar-coated, because talking about the realities of addiction is socially unacceptable. To me, addiction was just a word I used to justify why I ate chocolate every day. I decided to find out what I was supposed to learn, because from what I remember, all I was supposed to learn about addiction was about certain drugs and how they would affect you. I looked through my Google Drive folder, and all I found was 2 presentations that I'd done in my health class in middle school. In 6th grade, I had done a recording with a good friend of mine. It was labeled OTC/DXM! When I listened to it, I heard a 6th grade girl giggling with her best friend and making a joke about how people would die from overdosing on this drug. Because to us, this drug was irrelevant to us. It was a problem that we didn't have. I found another presentation from 8th grade. It was about a drug, opium. When I looked at the research I had done, it was just statistics about how often it was used, information about where to find this drug, how to make it, why people would use it. To me, teaching 8th graders how to make a drug and where to find it made no sense. I don't want to stand up here and tell you guys about addiction the way I was told about it, because if it's anything like my education, it won't make a difference. August 23rd, 2016. That date will forever be embedded in my mind. A few weeks before this, I had learned that a good friend of mine growing up had been addicted to cocaine since they were 13. I don't know if anyone here has talked to a 13-year-old lately, but when I was 13, I wore pigtails in my hair and a pink tutu to school. I had no clue what cocaine was, much less thought that my best friend growing up, the one who had built pillow forts in my living room, the one who would push me to go on the hard run skiing, I had no clue they were addicted. When I found out, I didn't know what to do. I went to every single adult I trusted and asked them what I was supposed to do, because up until that point, I had no clue what addiction was, much less thought it was in my community. I decided to confront my friend on their addiction. They finally told their parents, but that didn't do much at first. On August 23rd, I got a phone call. My friend had been caught in a parking garage with a few friends, lighting something on fire just for fun. Their car had been searched, and a drug that the police had never seen before was found. When I asked what it was, my friend just said they'd refer to it by the name Wonderland, or better known now as Pink. On this day, my friend realized that they had truly hit rock bottom. Their parents found an addiction therapist for them to go to, and they started their journey to sobriety. This journey's not easy for them. And in the last year, I've seen this. I decided to sit down with them and ask what I could do to try and understand what they were going through. When I asked, they told me that it felt like their body was trying to kill itself, but their mind was trying to survive. When your body becomes so dependent on a drug after you get addicted, you can't function without it. Because after receiving that drug, after giving their body cocaine for that long, it didn't know how to continue functioning without it. My friend can't sleep or eat because every time they do, it feels like they're going to vomit. I want you all to close your eyes. Imagine being stuck underwater. Remember that feeling you got when you were doing a holding your breath underwater contest with your friends? Where you were so competitive that you couldn't go up for a breath of air. Remember that feeling of your lungs screaming for you to go up and get a breath? But you can't. My friend told me that is what addiction felt like. I asked my friend what I could do to help because I felt helpless. I asked them what we as a community could do to help them. They told me to not give up on addicts, not give up on the ones who want to recover, because the ones who reach out, the ones who start going to rehab, who start going to therapy, the ones who finally tell you, are the ones who want to recover. Stop stereotyping addicts. They're not always going to be that guy in the back alley with a knife sticking out of his boot and a brown paper bag who screams if you look at them. Or that person in that white van who's trying to sell you candy because they're normal people. The girl you sit next to in math class. The guy you passed in the bus. The cashier at your favorite restaurant. I don't know if anyone here has ever known an addict or had a relationship with one, but let me tell you from my experience, it's not easy. There's no, so you just found out your best friend is an addict 101 class. There's no what to do when your friend just told you that they're addicted to cocaine book. Because this isn't something that everyone faces every day. Every day since the day I found out that my best friend was addicted, I worry. What if they relapse? What if they transferred their addiction? What if they couldn't take it anymore? And with that worrying comes anger. Why didn't I know? Why didn't they tell me? Why didn't every person who knew before me tell me? Ever since I found out, the lies have come out. Heidi, I'm going straight home. Don't worry. I was just out to dinner with my parents. I'm home in bed. Despite all of this, the worrying, the lies, the anger, I still choose to love my best friend every day. Because even if the whole world tells them that they failed, that they can't recover, that they can't come back from this, I won't. I will hold their hand every single step of recovery. Because ever since the day that they started to get sober, they laugh like they used to. They smile without their eyes being clouded. I can go to the park with them without worrying about them going off and smoking. I was finally able to look past the addict in front of me and I found my best friend again. Thank you.